Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much to the new subscribers who have since joined my channel. I do not take it for granted. I am very happy and I'm very pleased, and I hope that you do enjoy the content that I do produce in this channel. If there's anything you'll want me to correct, if there's anything you'll want me to add or subtract, please feel free to comment on the comment section or tell me on what topics you'd like me to cover. Today, I'm going to talk about my visa interview experience. In the other video, I got to talk about the whole process of preparing the documents and putting everything together in order to make the application. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the experience of now getting the interview appointment and going to the embassy to present your papers and to get to answer the questions on why you want to go to that specific country. So, having explained in the previous video, I go to talk about putting the necessary documents together. I talked about having bank statements ready. I talked about having your medical insurance. I talked about having your police clearance certificate. I talked about so many other documentation that you need to get ready. And so, just a recap to tell you about myself. Mine was a student visa, a kind of a 1 year student visa to come to Spain to come and study. So, having had the documents, which took quite amount of time to put together, if you want to know more about the documentation process and what you need to do, please feel free to watch my previous video where I got to talk. Where I got to talk in a very intense manner on how to put your documents together and what kind of documents are required for a long-term student visa. So I put my document together, and for the Spain embassy in Nairobi. Um, Now, once you've put your document together, you email them. You email them on the documents, and you send to them for them to ascertain if the documents are in order. So I did that. I sent it to them, and they were able to respond. And also, in my case, my documents were supposed to be legalized. So I also did another email and asked them to get an appointment to go and legalize my documents. And the response I got from them was that you can come and legalize your document as you come and do the interview. So it's important to note that at that point, when I sent the email to book for an appointment, my birth certificate, my certification of the certification of my birth certificate was taking time. There was a quite of a problem at the registrar of birth where they do certification of birth certificates before being legalized, before being authenticated at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So what I got to do is I sent them an email. I told them that, hey, I have all these other documents together, but there's this one specific document that it's delaying where it's supposed to be certified at the government office where it's supposed to be certified, but I'm running out of time. Because if you look at if you get to check the requirements, you're supposed to apply for a visa between you're supposed to apply like 3 months before, and here I was running out of time because of one document. So I explained myself to them, and they gave me the appointment. They told me to go, and I had hoped that by the time I was getting the appointment for the visa interview, I would have gotten my birth certificate already authenticated at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So they gave me the interview date, which was I did an email on Sunday evening, and the following week on Wednesday they had already responded and gave me a date to go for the presentation of the documents and for the visa interview. So I was staying in Kisumu, Kenya. I had to organize myself on how to get to Nairobi and to go and present my documents and do the visa interview. Because even according to the date I was supposed to start school, it was very near. So I had to act very fast because the school abroad gives you a date that you're supposed to start, and also when you present your documents at the embassy, they check on the date that you're supposed to start, and if the date that you're supposed to start have elapsed, trust me, you'll not get that visa. So I traveled to Nairobi. I put my documents together. On the day of the interview, my interview was slotted for 10 a.m. in the morning. I woke up very early. I prepared. I made sure that I had all my documents in a in a file, well arranged. The ones that I was supposed to have copies, I made sure that I did copies and put them together. And I ensure that I was at the embassy on time. It's very very important to get there early. Don't try showing the embassy how disorganized or how late you can be for your interview. So I got there and I told at the reception, you get security, of course, the security check. And for Spain, for the Schengen visas, if it's less than 6 months, or if it's a tourist visa, they have a consultant that does them in Westlands in Kenya. The embassy only does, if I'm not wrong, the embassy only does interviews for visas lasting more than 6 months. So in my case, it was more than 6 months, and I had to go for my interview at their embassy in Uplands. I had to go to sorry guys, I had to go for my um, interview at the embassy in Upper Hill. Sorry guys, in Upper Hill in Nairobi. I got there before time. I got there before 10 a.m. I told the security guy. He was quite surprised why I'm going for a visa interview there, given that normally they've engaged a consultant to do that at Westland. So I got there. He made few phone calls here and there, and it was confirmed. I showed him the email that had been sent, giving me an appointment for the visa interview. So I got there. I sat down. When you get there, you sit down. You don't start going to the counters and you're in a hurry saying that, hey guys, no. You sit down and you wait. And it's a very quiet place. And that day when I went for the interview, I was the only one. There was nobody at at my slot. So I guess they give time so that according to different people, different applicants, different time, so that the place is not crowded. So I got there, I sat, I waited for about 3 minutes or 5 minutes or so. Then an officer came to the counter and called my name. When my name was called, I went to the counter. They told me to please present the documents. I opened the documents and I presented them. They were quite a big amount of documents. So I was told to like divide them into three and pass them over the counter. I passed them over the counter to the visa officer. Of course, they go through them, they look at them, and then the interview starts. So uh, they asked me, why do you, the first question was, what's your name? I said my name. I was asked what I do for a living. I said what I do for a living. They said the third question was, now my application being for a student visa, they asked, why do you want to go and study? I was coming to study the language. They asked me, why do you want to go and study this language in this country? Why can't you study it here? Because we have so many institutions here who offers the same. Why do you want to go and study it abroad? And so, one thing to note, a very important thing to note, is that before you go for these interviews, you should do thorough thorough research, and you should have your honest and very clear reasons why you are choosing to go and do it there. You should be able to defend your reason for wanting to go and do it there and not where you are. And so I told them that, okay, yes, I agree with you. There are so many institutions here in my home country that offer this particular course. I want to go and study there. But I have further reasons. Number one, if I go and study that language there, it is the native country where the language originated from. So I have an advantage, and the advantages are as follows. Number one, I'm going to be learning while I'm speaking with native speakers. So research has proved that if you're learning a language and you're able to speak it with the natives, you're able to interact with the natives, chances are high that you'll be able to learn the language faster. The second reason I told them is that I want to interact with culture because language is part of culture. So as you learn and get to learn the culture of that specific country and those specific people and you interact with them, you you get to dive deep into it. You get to know more about it as opposed to when you are learning when you learn it in a country where there are no native speakers. It's not as fast. It's go and learning it and speaking it amongst native speakers, it's more advantageous. And that passed. So the next question I was asked, because for my economic ability, sorry, for my economic ability, I was using a sponsor. There was somebody sponsoring me, and so they looked at the bank accounts, and then they looked at the affidavit sworn by the sponsor, and they asked me, so and so is sponsoring you? Yes, he's going to sponsor me. How are you related to him? He is my brother. And so you'll say how you're related to your sponsor, but that does not stop there. If he's your mother, if he's your father, if he's your brother, if he's your sister, you have to prove, you have to have proof of relationship. So don't just go and say that, oh, my mother is sponsoring me. Anybody can, you can say anybody with economic capability that it's your mother. So you have to prove that that person is indeed your relative. So in my case, I presented my birth certificate and I presented my brother's birth certificate, and they got to check. They checked the birth certificates, they checked the names, they checked the name of the parents and what have you. And that passed. The next question that I was asked, it was about my accommodation in my destination country. So as I talked about it in my previous video, you have to get a proof of accommodation. If you're going to rent somewhere, the people who are going to rent for you has to give you a letter stating that so and so passport number da 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 is coming and will be renting out to her or will be giving accommodation. Or alternatively, if you are going to be accommodated at a relative's place, that relative has to write you a letter indicating that they are going to accommodate you for this period of time between da 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 and da 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 da. And during her accommodation, we are going to be providing her with a place to sleep. You're going to be providing her with meals and all that. So I had that letter. The person, my host, had written the letter to me and I had presented it. And so they took the letter and they asked, this person that is going to accommodate you, who is it to you? And I said that, oh, I'm related to him in this way or that. How are you related? Is he, for example, if he's your uncle, is he your brother to your father or is he a brother to your mother, and what have you? I said yes, he's a brother to my mother. Uh, and so I think those were the end of the questions. They are not much. I think what they look for is your ability to explain yourself why you want to go there, because you don't just go, you don't just say I want to go and you go. You must have the ability to explain why do you want to go there. You have to be confident, you have to answer the questions well, you have to be very articulate. And so with that, I think the questions ended. In my visa application form, I had not entered the correct address. So you're supposed to write the correct address because they keep the records in case they start looking for you in their own country. They want to have your exact address and where they can get you. So I had written the address wrongly. The visa officer asked me to write the correct address of the residence where I'm going to stay. So I had a little bit of a problem with that because the way the physical addresses of this country of Spain, the way they write their addresses, physical addresses, is not the way we write in Kenya. In fact, in Kenya, when you speak about physical addresses, there is not so much about the street, the plot number, sorry, the plot number, and even the door number. So I kind of got confused, and I had to go back and look at the letter and write the address correctly, After I'd written the address, she told me to now to move to the counter where you pay for the visa. And I moved to the counter. She told me how much it is. I paid for it. And she told me, okay, we'll tell you when it's ready. So, one thing about Schengen visas is you don't get to know at that point if you've been given a visa or not. So, they just tell you, we'll let you know, and you leave. You don't... So, 2 weeks later, exactly 14 days later, I got a phone call. Of course, after you putting in your application and doing the interview, it takes between 2 to 3 months to get a response, depending on the intensity or the amount of visa applications they're processing. But in my case, it took exactly 2 weeks, 14 days. I remember it was in the morning, it was in the morning of a Friday. It was in the morning of a Thursday, and I was out and about trying to overcome challenges I was facing at that time. I was out and about, and there I was in the morning, 10 a.m. A phone call comes in. Truecaller shows Embassy of Spain in Kenya. Hello, hello, good morning. Am I speaking to Nancy? Yes, this is her. We are glad to tell you that your visa application has been successful, and supposed to come and pick it. And I was so happy. I said, thank you so much. So they asked me, which day do you want to come and pick it? And since I was in Kisumu and it was crossing over to the weekend, I told them to slot me in for Monday. I'll come on Monday to go. I'll go on Monday to go and pick it. So they told me that that's fine. We'll expect you on Monday, and we are going to put you in the agenda for Monday. And so, guys, that's how it happened. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of planning. It was a lot of praying, a lot of faith, a lot of hope. I had so many obstacles. There were so many obstacles. There were so many things that were to stand on my way. But who is God? Who is God? Yeah. And so I had so many. I had a great support system. I had a great support system. Family supporting me, my sisters, my brothers, my mother supporting me, my cousin. I had a great support system, and I owe it to everybody who put in effort in one way or another. And one thing I can say that is this thing when you're doing this thing, please just enlist the support of the people you can. It's not an easy process. It's not an easy thing. Just enlist the support of anybody who is willing to come in. And so I'm very grateful. And so I got the visa, and I planned to go to Nairobi, and I went and picked the visa, and the other part of the journey started from there. Hello, guys. So thank you so much for watching. If you've been able to watch up to the end, I am very, very, very much grateful. um I'll be in the next video, or afterwards I'll get to talk about my experience now preparing for the journey. You have your visa at hand, you have to get a plane ticket, you have to decide which clothes you are taking along with you, which ones you're leaving behind. It's a whole lot of process, and so I'll be able to do another video on the same. So stay tuned. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to the new subscribers. I invite you who is watching and you have not subscribed yet, please consider subscribing, because I promise, good content is coming that you love. And I'll be talking about so much, my experiences here, how things are different here in Europe, in Spain, and what have you. So thank you so much. Consider subscribing, consider liking. If there's any feedback you have for me, please drop it in the comment section. Thank you so much. Bye bye. See you. Mwah.